What did you have to get ready?
Nitric oxide.
What is nitric oxide?
It's a supplement that helps with blood flow.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Why would you need that?
So his brain is on point.
I started hitting the gym again, man. I'm trying to get my pump back, you know?
Interesting, interesting. I usually just drink a coffee like a normal person, but yeah, whatever works for you, I guess, you know.
Hey,
He's on the
man,
West Coast, though. He's
it's
on the West
all
Coast. They
types
do
of
all
stuff out
that.
here in America,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
They bamboozled me.
Uh,
Biohacking.
Biohacking. Welcome back, everyone. Tokenize360 Podcast, episode 2. Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high. Super exciting. Excitement is in the air. We have two other people with us today. We have Shakes, a content creator and a streamer, and a part of Tokenize360. How's it going, Shakes? How's your day?
Yo, yo, yo. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you for having me here today, man. So wonderful, so wonderful.
Yeah, and of course, we also have the lovely Nature Bean joining us again for the second episode. She is also a streamer, a content creator. She does all the BD stuff. She does everything. On top of this, you also balance the life of being a mom, right? So how does that really work? How does that work out for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, real short answer is I actually got into all of this because I wanted to show my kids safe space in the online world. And I wanted to create it because, you know, there's so much degen, yada, yada, yada. So lo and behold, I kind of just decided I would continue to make wholesome content so that my kids could see you can be online and not be a degen.
That's a very good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's definitely a tough act to balance, though. You know, even for me, I'm doing all this stuff as well, and the only family I have right now is my girlfriend, who I live with, and other than that, you know, it's still a tough act to balance. I mean, Shakes, you're also a parent balancing the Web3 life, right, and the content creation.
Yeah, I am. It is such a different experience. But you know, with them, for me, like Nature said, it's all about finding them a safe space. My kids see me gaming all the time, and they want to game, and they want to watch YouTube videos and watch, gamers play their games and experience whatever it is that they're playing because they love Roblox, right? But you also have to just really like make sure that it is a safe space for them and that they're not, interacting with anything weird out there. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of weird stuff on the internet. That's something that's never going to change. But anyway, today we're going to talk about something big, a topic that excites me personally a lot, and the topic is about advertising. Specifically, advertising in Web 2 versus Web 3. Think about Netflix adding ads versus games like the Sandbox putting billboards inside of the metaverse. Which one would feel more natural? You know, which one respects your time more? Of course, the having ads inside of games, it's a fairly new thing. And now with all these massive online multiplayer games such as Web 2 games like Fortnite, they have the potential to really push the mainstream narrative. So advertisers could potentially start choosing to advertise inside of video games more than on platforms like Netflix. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's like I feel like, I may hum a jingle that I hear on the TV or on Netflix or something, but I feel like if it's in the game, I'll remember it as like a part of my storyline, right? Like I'm off to get my loot and there's this billboard and I'm like, "Oh, hey, check that out." And as long as it fits within the narrative and it's not something like super like out there where it's like this doesn't even fit in this world, then I don't feel like it's going to be so intrusive as like sometimes you get these ads where you just feel like, oh my gosh, why is this, like, why are you showing me this? I don't want to see that. So I feel like it could be a really cool opportunity to build ecosystems and really bring partnerships that is beyond stuff we really see right now.
Yeah, definitely. You know, back in the day, I remember growing up, we had actual good ads on the TV. You know, whatever happened with those ads? Like I would sit down as a kid and watch an ad and trying to decipher what's this ad going to be about, because you see like a whole short film production and then in the end it's like, oh, it's Nike shoes. You know, ads used to be
Yeah.
yeah, ads
So
used to be really
creative,
good.
I mean, yeah, like I said, they used to be creative, used to be extremely artistic. I think one thing for me that really stood out, especially in my younger days for ads, were jingles. You remember jingles? Jingles were
Jingles?
the little short songs that they would add to every, to every commercial that you would watch, and whatever. I can't think of any certain
I stuck
jingle.
on Band-Aid brand because Band-Aid stuck on me.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you actually have a good voice. You have a good singing voice. I didn't know that. Yeah, we used to have theme songs for ads. Ads are just a different game now. Nowadays, it's all about conversions and clicks. Of course, it was always about conversion and clicks. But I feel like now ads are just too intrusive. You know, when you play one of those
Very.
Web2 mobile games on your phone, and you just have to sit through an ad that you genuinely do not care about, but you have to sit through it in order to keep playing the game. It just makes you uninstall the game, and it's not a good way to push ads. Wouldn't it be so much better that I can play this game, and as I am playing it, I see an ad as an element of a sort of in-game feature, and then I would be like, okay, this is a company that looks a bit in the future. They look forward. They are trying to innovate. Let me check out their product. You know, I would be more open to that sort of thing. Yeah, to bring it back to you, Shakes. Did you have any experience, of advertising like this inside of games? Have you ever seen anything like it?
As far as an immersive versus an intrusive experience, honestly, Tony, not as of yet. I mean, I've heard that there are games out there, but every game that I do run into so far is quite intrusive. It's, click this ad to get a certain amount of experience or points, or, get further in the game, or to speed up my process, right? And I think to touch on that also, in the Web 2 way, we do have Tubi, right? And it's also, Tubi's intrusive also. I mean, and it's free to watch. But Tubi is the highest grossing streaming platform, at least here, in America. And you can literally watch, almost anything that you want, and they're just ads, right? And you don't have to pay for anything. There's no pay option at all. There's no option to pay. It's just, if you want to use the platform, you can use it. But here are ads because we're free platform, right? And that's my experience so far. But in games, it's always an intrusive thing. It's never an option, or it's never just going through the game and seeing a billboard. And I wish that was something that I would experience more, something that was just more immersive, maybe interactive, instead of just intrusive and just not giving me an option to choose.
Yeah, well, that's something I wanted to touch upon, but I like the way you said it: immersive versus intrusive ads. That's a very good way to say it. TV ads are passive, right? You sit, you watch. But then in-game ads would be immersive. You're walking through a digital world and you see a billboard. It doesn't interrupt your experience. It lives inside of it, and that's powerful. We had this crypto game that we played. I can't recall the name of it for the life of me right now. But it had all kinds of ads about crypto exchanges, and then like the price of Bitcoin, of Ethereum, all around this, huge open world where there's other people around as well. It was an MMO. I can't remember the name of that game. But they did it so well, and I tried to meet up with someone in the game, and the way we did it is we said, let's meet up under the Coinbase building. So I would look around, where's the Coinbase building? I look on the map, I see it's in front of the CoinGecko building. They're like, they're like neighbors in the game, and so I see the CoinGecko sign from a distance. I go to it, I look in front, I see Coinbase, and there's my friend. And it was such a cool way to interact. I was like, good on you, Coinbase, good on you, CoinGecko, this is awesome.
Yeah, and honestly, like it's like you said, like if it feels like it's part of the environment and not a forced pitch, like I'm not mad at that. Like I might even take a screenshot, be like, oh my gosh, did you see so and so in that game? Have you guys played this game?
Yeah, exactly. I think even Pixels has experimented. For those of you listening that have no idea what Pixels is this crypto game, one of the most popular crypto games right now. They have a lot of players, and they have a full in-game economy and all that. But I think, Nature, you're very experienced in Pixels. Did they do a sort of in-game billboard that you can like put on your land or something like that, other people can see it? I think they experimented with that.
Multiple projects, don't they? Yeah.
So they have UGCs where people can make the you make the art and you can put it in there and people can sell those. And I know they've talked about it many, many times about it being a possible ad thing, but they have not yet made it anything. Because because they have different things in the, what is that called? The marketplace or the Terravilla Square. And they have like, they call it, oh, they're like billboards, but they're posts. Like you have to click on it and then it tells you stuff. But they have not put like a billboard out that says something about maybe a different Web3 thing that I've seen. The biggest thing I had seen was like the collaborations with different games where like at some point there was, what was it, New Cyber, which is, I don't know if that even still exists, but that was like a thing at some point. You go to the arcade and you play these New Cyber games. And then that kind of just faded out completely and nobody ever like, now it's like the dusty arcade game in the back of the bar.
No, but another cool way of doing this is what Cyberverse did, right? So Cyberverse is another like 2D browser-based crypto game, and they added my character from my YouTube channel called Inspector Mindblow, and they added this character inside of the game. You can come up to him, and he shills my channel. You know, he's like, "Oh, have you heard of Inspector Mindblow? You should totally check out his videos." And then there's a link to my channel there, so that's a nice little piece of advertisement right there that they did. And I felt like, you know, stuff like this can really work. Like if the game is massive, let's say a GTA 5 sort of game, and I want to promote my YouTube channel inside of it, they would put an NPC walking around that's like my NPC, and when you talk to him, he's like, "Oh, have you checked out my videos? Go over and check them out." You know, I feel like that could be super interesting, you know. But anyway, to touch upon another segment I wanted to talk about here is it's more crypto related, so it's more for the crypto audience listening, but for those of you who aren't into crypto, we'll try to explain this best as possible. So could NFTs become ad slots? You know, what if NFTs weren't just art or items, but advertising slots? So imagine you own a billboard NFT on a racing map, and you rent that out to crypto projects or even regular normal brands that could then generate passive income for you just for holding this NFT. So it would be tied to player traffic. So this flips the ad ownership to the player without a middleman. It's just you, your land, and whoever wants to buy the ad there to you know, advertise on that piece of property. Because if you have lots of people walking by inside of the game, you know, it's a lot of eyes that could go for that one.
I kind of love the chaos of it, like turning you or us into digital landlords without any of like the emergency calls that come along with it. And like if the ad makes sense again, like I really feel like the one thing that I feel that would really benefit the space is, again, if they like match, you know, like if you're utilizing games that kind of look like they're similar, like I could see like Cyberverse and Decimated, right? Because they're similar style games in like the post-apocalyptic thing. And this is just throwing that out as like, you know, and I know that Cyberverse has even talked about this possibility as well, because they have the perfect kind of little world to have all these little billboards. Yeah. And so I feel like you could totally like think of a game sponsoring a whole block, right? And it doesn't feel weird because it looks like it's building the ecosystem. And I feel like that could be a really cool, again, room for partnership, which I just love the idea of people collaborating more instead of the whole competition of who's who and who's better than who and all that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I can see that. You know, this whole NFT thing could be also super interesting, as it would give, you know, the ownership of the ad space to the player, so thus creating a sort of new advertising economy. And there's so much that can be done with ads inside of these in regular games, but specifically crypto games would be really, really good for this, in my opinion, because of the NFT technology. So therefore I can buy this NFT ad space, giving revenue to the game, and then at the same time I could rent this ad space through this NFT to a company who wants to advertise on my land because I bought it. You know, it's a nice piece of real estate that I bought before there was more foot traffic on it. There's so many things that can be done here. I don't know. Those are just some thoughts that really, really excite me. But I don't know if any Web2 game has ever done something like this. I can totally see it in games like GTA. You know, GTA 5 has so many billboards all around. And they advertise like in-game stuff because they have like the fake Apple, fake Samsung inside of the game. What if we did real companies that will pay for this? I don't know how effective this would be.
I mean, I think it's extremely effective. I mean, you think about a day-to-day basis when we're going to work to earn, right? And we see this billboard, and and we see so many advertisements on the way to work and on the way to back home. They're almost like it's brainwashing us, right? Because you see things over and over, you hear things over and over, even when you see like lawyer ads, and you say you get in a car accident, or you need a lawyer, you're trying to figure out, who am I going to call? You're going to call, I'm gonna call Jedi Crypto Shakes, law firm, because I keep seeing this billboard, right? So I think it's extremely. I think it would be a good idea for Web3 games to, to start adding some type of billboards into their games. I mean, uh, we haven't seen it as of yet, but that would be pretty cool, and it does create that extra revenue. If you do own land, which a lot of people own digital land, and you're able to create some extra passive income just by, hey, add your billboard, or add your advertisement to the billboard on my land, that's game changing.
I mean, from an advertiser perspective, if I was an advertiser who has, let's say, an energy drink, right? Energy drink, that's something gamers drink. So if I want to get to gamers, currently what I have to do is place ads before gaming videos on YouTube, or place ads on Twitch when someone is doing live streams. But placing ads directly in the game, that's where I get the real audience. I get to the gamers. If I was driving around in GTA and I see an ad of a real energy drink, I'd be like, yeah, I want to drink this while I'm playing this game. Look, it's inside of the game, and now it's here with me in real life. I would buy it. You know what I mean? I can see the use case for this.
I can even see it on the other end of the spectrum, where it could be, say, you're gonna get this energy drink, right? Or there can be a number of, say, 300 energy drinks that you have to get, and they're from this specific company, right? And it kind of explains, like, what this energy drink does. You might get some extra health from this energy drink, but it's provided by, said and said company, but it's only a certain amount. Now that creates like a certain type of FOMO of, oh, what is this company? They're only 300, or they're only 500. Like, I have to get my hands on this. And then on top of that, you're doing another deep dive as a investor or a gamer. Like, what is this company? Like, why are they even selling these NFTs? I think that's another way that could create some type of marketing or ad revenue for, companies that are looking into Web3.
Back on the topic, like you guys talking about the NFTs and just like beyond just land, like imagine like you have an NFT that you bought for a game, right? And it's a specific game. And then you can get, like, say, an affiliate link to like your t-shirt, right? Someone gets a t-shirt that's branded. And if they use your link, you get some sort of like pushback from that. And I can just see like there could be this whole affiliate thing that builds from that would make your NFTs more valuable, like in the long run, where you're actually making money on it and not just hoping it doesn't completely depreciate.
Yeah, that's what, when it comes to NFTs and the whole crypto part of this, it's going to be very difficult in general to get, regular normal Web 2 companies and regular normal people into the crypto games. That's one of the things we want to do. We want to get more people into crypto games, but there's the stigma around it, and with good cause. One of the things we always say to our audiences is be careful. Try not to get scammed. There's so many scammers out there. We always say that. Then we defend the industry. Oh, why don't normal companies get into crypto? Well, yeah. It's like it's a very dangerous place to be, and if you're a noob who just wants to have a good time, you may very easily get scammed. So I understand where it comes from. It's decentralized. A lot of it is decentralized. It's very difficult not to get bad actors in it, especially when there's money involved, when there's a real world economy involved inside of a video game. So I think people just need to be taught more about crypto. In general, the blockchain tech, nobody understands NFTs really well. Like, even the people now in crypto don't understand NFTs.
What is an NFT? It's a digital asset.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's abstract for them. It's abstract for a lot of people, right? So there needs to be a different way of doing things. But for now, anyway, I think what we're trying to explore here is, like, is this going to be the future of advertising. In my opinion, maybe not like the future of advertising as a whole, but it's definitely going to be a sector. I think there's a lot of unexplored potential here. One thing I touched upon before is the in-game NPC. NPC meaning non-playable character, which is just a guy in a video game. And if those NPCs were not just coded to talk about specific things, like that NPC I mentioned that's in the game Cyberverse, that's coded to talk about specific things, what if they were AI? Right? So we talk about AI agents a lot, but what even is an AI agent? It's just an AI chatbot. It's not more than that. It's a chatbot that can interact to whatever you tell him, like ChatGPT. Put that brain, if you can call it a brain, inside of an NPC and have him be trained to recommend products to you. So you finish a mission and the NPC says, oh, you might like this gear. It's from Adidas, and then you have like Adidas branded gear that you get from the NPC. So it's like a walking advertisement. I don't know how I feel as a gamer about this, but like from an advertising perspective, I can see this as being a really, really good tool.
Yeah. I mean, like you're playing the game, you go through your mission and you're doing certain tasks, right? And at the end of the game, you run into this AI NPC that says, "Hey, congratulations, you finished your mission, and also, you're doing certain things on this mission. How about you take these Nike boots that help you run faster, since you like to play as a speed, a hunter or something like that." Yeah, that would be that would be pretty dope, in my opinion.
Yeah, it would be dope, and it's not forced; it's contextual. And with AI, it could potentially feel natural. I'm not sure how all that's going to work out, obviously. Like the AI agents in games, that's something that's very new and it's still being explored. And you don't necessarily need blockchain technology for this. So blockchain and AI, very new concepts for the majority of the world, basically, right? But AI NPCs in role-playing games are a game changer. Like advertising aside, if you like role-playing games, sort of RPGs like Skyrim or any Bethesda game or any Web2 game that's a role-playing game, doesn't even have to be an MMO, right? And having those AI NPCs could just push the immersion to such a high level. You don't even need a real life for a month. You can just live inside of the game. An NPC that talks to you about the things you're doing in the game, proactive, not just coded to have 3 different responses. I think that could be a game changer. I don't know, Nature, if you are like a hardcore gamer like us, and if you have played many RPGs in the past, and you know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, well, I can imagine like one thing would be really cool is, like you said, if you just like go up to an NPC and instead of just the 3 things, like you're conversating with it and it. Because, yeah, I can imagine, like, I'm in a certain skill and I'm stuck, right? And instead of having to, like, Google and find all the videos or whatever, maybe, like you were saying before, they stick in, like, have you seen the Nature Bean video that goes over that? Or, have you seen the Shakes stream where he actually breaks down how to do that? And, things like that where it could be really cool to bring worlds together. But also, as long as it's not, like, a pop-up ad and feels like it is part of the game, I really feel like it could be really cool to just keep it lore energy and not LinkedIn energy. Like, not business, but like it fits in, right? It makes sense.
Those AI NPCs could be such a game changer. You add an AI voice filter to it so he can talk to you, and you add proximity voice from your microphone so you can talk to him. And now my mind is just blown from this. Like, that will be incredible. That will be so cool. We're kind of going off a bit here from our original talking point, which is supposed to be, is this the future of advertising? Is this how advertising is going to go in the future? But this may be the future of gaming, honestly. Like adding this AI technology to NPCs.
Yeah, I actually saw it, and like they did do it in Pixels with AI Veronica, where they did the whole. It was like what do they call it? Waifu or something, where you pick somebody and like you're trying to essentially woo them and get them to give you points, right? And you got prizes from that. But it was the first time where in a game I had that experience where I'm talking to a character that's talking back to me, not just like pre-programmed, right? They're saying
that's crazy
things in real time. Yeah, and it's wild. And so marketing wise, like you said, like I can totally see that being an amazing way to do it, as long as like I don't even think it has to be, obviously be cool if it's stuff outside of Web3 and crypto, but even within crypto, like there's so many opportunities for marketing and helping many different sectors. And, for content creators who are constantly looking for something, like this could be an avenue of, again, like the affiliate link type idea. And I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on the affiliate link idea?
Well, I just think, like I said it before with the NFTs, but it's like if you think about, you have an NPC who's talking to you. And again, like, they mention your video or they mention your something. And for every someone who goes from some link that might be from the game, you're getting some sort of pushback, right? Even if that is from the game or it's in, in your actual YouTube, whatever, like it's still helping you at the same time. So it would be really cool to see more partnerships. I don't know. I guess I'm real big on that whole community partnership feel, but I love the idea that there's actual avenues for people who are trying to bring people to the space and actually getting more credit to them versus all the games taking all the glory and all that stuff.
It would also be another revenue funnel for the game if they could have affiliate links inside of the game to make even more money. So I can see games using this a lot. If any game is open to doing this with content creators and to push content creators more, that could be like a self-fulfilling loop, where if the game shows love to a content creator through funneling gamers to watch their videos and their streams, they will stream more about this game. They will make more videos about this game. It will be like a closed loop system that will work so well. But games these days, they're not so open to this. And I feel like we're going backwards when it comes to how games advertise. We're not going forward anymore. We went forward until like 2017, 2018. It was all perfect. And from there, we kind of started taking a step back for some reason. Games want to show less content on YouTube. Games want to show less content on Twitch overall. And I feel like we're going backwards there. We need to innovate how we push marketing and how we push marketing specifically tied to gaming. A couple of crypto projects tackle these issues, and they're innovative in their way of marketing and their way of getting more eyes on their game. But to go back to player-owned ad networks, I guess you could call this segment like this, player-owned ad networks. If the game world is owned by the players, shouldn't the ads be owned by the players as well? So we imagine a DAO being a decentralized, autonomous organization that curates what brands can advertise. So players vote. Do we advertise Red Bull? Yes or no? Is it the crypto rug project? No, thank you. Stuff like that. So revenue could flow to landowners, to game builders, and to ad hosts, and a full on-chain media economy, basically, something that's fully on the blockchain. So we're going away from Web 2 here and going fully into Web3. There's so many opportunities that the blockchain could specifically help with. And I feel like games are not using this. I'm not sure if it's because of regulations, because we don't have regulations and they're scared, or is it because they don't understand it? I'm really lost as to why it is like.
I think the number one thing that you touched on is are people scared, man? Everybody that is not a trader, investor, or just completely immersed in the crypto community, it's always, is it a scam? Can I trust it? So it's difficult to say on that aspect, but it's like, I know for sure if we're able to somehow immerse Web2 ads or just ads in general into a game, and you have this land, and it can be kind of like we make $3, right? Or we make $5, you get $3, someone gets $1, someone else gets $1, however the split would be. But I mean, it's something that can really work in the crypto community because, we're all looking to create some type of income. When it comes to Web 2, it's either you're paying to remove this ad, right? And that money only goes straight to those two companies, the company that's marketing and the company that is helping the marketing, right? But we're losing out on income. Us as investors, us as users of the project or of the platform, and those two companies are making money. But if we can bring that into Web3 and into crypto, I mean, that would create an extra way for at least landowners or people who actually own NFTs to create some extra passive revenue. But yeah, I mean, it could work. It could work. I mean, we see it in Web 2. If we bring it to Web 3 in our aspect, it could work for sure.
I still think that there's so much left on the table from regular brands, from non-crypto, non-blockchain brands, and they're not taking advantage of all this new tech that we see crypto projects take advantage of. Now the problem is that there's so many crypto projects that just want to grab as much money as they can and run off to a tropical island, buy a yacht, and just live a nice life. So there's a lot of people who just want to scam, and that comes always with a territory. You know, when the internet was new back in the day, 90% of the projects that popped up don't exist anymore because majority were scams, and the ones that weren't were underfunded and they didn't know what they were doing. And then there were the 10% that are left that are dominating the internet to this day, that have grown into behemoths of industry and some of the most valuable companies to have ever existed. And I feel like that's where the blockchain technology is at right now. That at least that's how I feel. You know, we are in our .com bubble that's gonna burst, and we're gonna have a purge. We're gonna have a purge of projects, and the good ones will remain, and more new ones that are also good will start popping up.
Well, I mean, back to like the original question of like, should the players be voting on the brands? Like, obviously as a community person, like 100% yes, because I want the people who are playing and grinding the games daily to have a say in that, what shows up. But beyond that part of the segment, like having the scared part, like 100%, like even the people in crypto get scared of crypto. Like it's not like we're immune to that whole process. And all of us at one point coming into it had to go through some research phases, had to really dive in to figure things out. And you know, I know myself particularly, like I got in through my husband getting in, and it took a while. It took a while for me to really be like, I don't know, bro. But because he invested, I was invested, right? Because as a partnership, I was like, okay, we're in this together. Let's get our money back. And, you know, and that is what started like me learning about everything. Like I had no idea that there were games attached to this world. I had no idea that you could own digital, like I had heard about NFTs, you know, board yacht club, yada yada. Like, okay, that sounds dumb, right? Like I was never like interested in this idea, but as an artist, it also kind of was like, well, that's actually a really cool way to put your art out there and it not have to be a physical thing. And people can consume it, people can own it. And it just kind of changed my perspective on that. But at the same time, then having it in a game and then the game having value, like it just kind of built all of these little pieces to me that were like, oh, this is kind of cool, right? My first NFT was my little mushroom, right? And I was obsessed. Like I'm still obsessed. She's the cutest little thing. And like, but that was my first thing where I was like, oh my gosh, I own this little piece of art. Like, how cute is that? And then it made me more immersed in the game itself. And that's one way that we get connected to the games a little bit more. Whereas in Web 2, you don't own your character. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you might have bought the game and you might have beat the game, but you kind of are done after that, right? You don't feel that like draw to keep coming back unless it's been a few years, right? But if you own a piece of it, even just that NFT, it brings you back because I own a piece of this game. I better use it, right? Oh, this game can also make some money. Oh, that's cool. It can pay back what I invested in my NFT, et cetera, et cetera. So there's so many pieces of it that add on and add on and add on. But of course, there's going to be a fear aspect to it because people are using money or they're, you know, opening wallets, which, you know, there's so many things and the internet with scams. I mean, it never ends. But in the end, if you're going to be on the internet, you should try to look into crypto.
Yeah, that's a very good point. If you're at all on the internet, you should look into it. There's ways we can protect ourselves. Like, first of all, you don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to buy anything. Like, you can be part of this without spending any of your own money. Just don't reply to anyone's DMs asking you to send 1 Ethereum and get 2 Ethereum back. And that's a scam that works to this day. It's incredible. They say, can you send me 1 Ethereum, and I send you 2 back right away. Proven, it works. And then you send 1 Ethereum and they block you. One of the oldest scams in the book.
Same thing with Cash App.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that people fall for this, but they do. People believe stuff. Yeah, that's how it is. But anyway, yeah, there's ways to protect yourself. One super interesting book I read recently, it's called The Infinite Game. And I feel like a lot of projects today are not playing the infinite game anymore. They're looking for a bigger return of investment in this quarter compared to the previous one, and they're not playing the infinite game that looks in the long run. There's a finite game that has clear rules, fixed players, a defined endpoint, and your goal is to win. So that's football or chess or a school exam or business deals, right? And the mindset is we must beat the competition. And then we have the infinite game. So not a lot of brands play the infinite game. You can clearly tell who does. Apple plays the infinite game. Microsoft plays the infinite game. Amazon does also. It's companies that have stood the test of time. Because in the infinite game, rules can change. Players come and go. There's no fixed endpoint. And the goal is to keep playing and improving. The goal is not to win, because you cannot win in an infinite game because the rules change constantly. Something that's important now may not be important tomorrow. And in the infinite game, that matters. You need to be open to changes. So in businesses, in relationships as well, a relationship is an infinite game. And in life itself, and the mindset is we're here to play better and longer than we did yesterday. Not to win, but to keep playing. So that's the core book of this idea, is to focus on purpose and not just profit, to build trusting teams, to embrace change and uncertainty, and to think in decades and not quarters. And I feel like a lot of projects in businesses today don't play the infinite game. Very, very few do. And over a long enough period of time, it'll be proven that I'm correct in this, that those who don't embrace blockchain and AI right now, they will be left behind by those who do, and by those who try to push the boundaries. That's just my personal opinion, but I definitely think it'll come true. And those are kind of the key principles. I mean, I could go on this. It's a fresh book in my mind, and I had a lot of fun reading it. So I could go on this, but
okay. So all that's going through my head right now is my 6th grade teacher teaching me, and I tell everybody this. This became like a motto. It's be better, best. Never let it rest till you're better, or you're good. Oh no, it's good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. And I have taken that to heart in so many ways. And like, I'm not even joking. Like, it was like, I have always had this like be better mindset. Like I have so much time on this earth and I don't want to stay stagnant. Right. And like in a spiritual journey, it's a similar way where it's like, you're constantly on this journey to, obtain this for like making it as PR as possible, enlightenment, and like the idea of getting as close to the creator as possible. And all of those things require you to continually check, are you still on point? Did you adapt to what's going on in your life? Are you stuck somewhere that you need to be like, oh, I really should put some light on that, right? And I should really dig into why this is holding me back. And, give that up and move forward. And being able to set things down, especially when they're not working, is something that a lot of businesses have a hard time with, or they just don't want to admit that like they have a failing business model and they don't want to bring new people in to help that out, or they put too much new in too fast, right? So it's like that balance of like staying power, like you said, like you really just have to like I feel like it's like a morality thing. It's like, who are you? What is it that your intention is? And if you're set on the intent to continue to adapt, then you will succeed. If you are already like, oh, I have to make X amount of money, or I have to make X amount of things, that may or may not succeed in the long run. But, when you're just there just to be on the ride, you're going to be on the ride.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, especially, advertising is an infinite game. It's not a finite game. You cannot win advertising. You have to mold yourself based on not what's popular now, but what will be popular in the future. So you need to look decades ahead. You cannot look quarterly, and it doesn't matter if this quarter is worse than the previous one. We reinvent and we keep going. Nintendo is a good example of this. They've been around for like more than 100 years. They created their company in the 1800s. I don't know if you knew this, but Nintendo is an old company, and they are a perfect example of the infinite game. They have a just cause. So that's a very important part of an infinite game. Your cause is not to make money. You need to have a just cause. Their cause is to deliver unique, family-friendly entertainment experiences. That's the best way to put it, I think. And that's a just cause. And they're not competing with PlayStation or Xbox on power and realism. They're focused on fun and innovation. You know, with the Wii, with the Switch, they reinvented themselves so many times over 130 years. As I said, they were originally just a playing card company back when they started. So the result is longevity through reinvention and not direct competition. And that's the infinite game. And they're a perfect example of this. So other companies right now, they're not playing the infinite game at all. And I don't think that they will succeed in the long run. Because if you focus on extracting as much money as you possibly can from every single user, you may earn more than an infinite company, than an infinite mindset company, you know, this quarter or next year. But in the long run, you will disappear. And those who do play the infinite game will stay for, well, as we can see, centuries. Because before this podcast, I didn't know that Nintendo has been around for so long. But that's actually crazy.
1889. Whoa.
Did you just look that up?
I had to look it up, man. That's insane.
Yeah,
wow.
You're like my Jamie from Joe Rogan's podcast. Hey, Shakes, look that up.
I got you. I mean, yeah. I mean, as far as businesses goes, you know, and projects and platforms, whatever. I mean, you have to be ambiguous. You have to constantly see what are people looking for, what do people want, what will people want, you know, in the next 5 to 10 days. You know, what's becoming hot, you know, not what's hot right now. So like I said, ambiguity is one of the biggest things. Like, I think one thing that we say out here is, you know, keeping your head on a swivel. And that essentially means, like, you know, stay on the lookout, you know, always look around to look for signs of, you know, what's going on, what might happen, but more so in the crypto sense, in the marketing sense, you know, and even content creating, it's always, you know, figuring out what is the next big thing, you know, not what's hot right now, because what's hot right now is not going to be hot tomorrow. It could be, you know, it's not a guarantee. But always, you know, always looking to see what's going to be hot, what do people actually need. So, I mean, Nintendo, looking at this and looking it up, I mean, it's crazy to me. It's insane. But you think back, and, you know, families are looking for fun. You know, always families have game night, right? You know, their families are always looking for ways to, you know, interact and have fun with each other, you know. And I think that's one of the biggest things, you know. So it's like game night. Game night's going to be on Friday. It's going to be on the second week of Friday of every month. So, I mean, Nintendo, they realize that that's very, very important to people. And, you know, how can we expand on that? You know, trading card or playing cards, and then playing cards into video games. I mean, that's a big leap, but I mean, we're talking about time here from the 1800s to the 19 and the 2000s. But I mean, that's a great way, it's an amazing way to adapt. And companies now need to move in that aspect. Like, you know, what are we looking for? You know, and there's certain ways to, I guess, to get those analytics and that data, but absolutely on point there.
Yeah, but how would you get analytics and data back in the early 20th century?
You know, the word of mouth is back then, you know, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, back then, man, 100 years ago. Hey, Shakes, you seen, man, there's this new trading card game called Nintendo. Yeah, I didn't even know how I would sell you on that. I have no idea. We would need to know what people back then needed, you know? This is the thing about advertising. Yeah. You don't sell the product itself. You sell emotion. That's why Nike's one of the best in the business. They sell emotion. They don't sell, Nike ads. They're so good at making ads. You don't see an ad just about the shoe. Oh, this is a brand new shoe. It has this amazing sole. It has, I don't know, laces that can, whatever. They don't do that. They show you someone running, and that runner is not giving up, and he's running over a hill. Nike. That's it. Like, they sell emotion. And I feel like ads like that are what's lacking nowadays. Every other product, just throw themselves in your face. It's like, please buy our product. So much better than this other product. It's the same.
Gatorade is good at that too.
Is it? Yeah? What do they do?
I mean, they have their videos where they take out all of the color and they just leave the sweat with whatever color Gatorade it is that you're drinking, and it looks like you're being hydrated, but it's not like they explain much. They just have the athlete there, and it creates that emotion of, you're working hard and you got some grit, but you need this drink to stay hydrated and keep you going.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, using athletes for stuff like this is great, like even back like early 50s before they banned, doctors from advertising cigarettes. That was probably one of the one of the most hardcore things they did, using a doctor to advertise cigarettes. Like, oh, my doctor's smoking, I should probably start also. What a wild time it used to be, right?
I feel like I'll go far too much into integrity, so let's just skip it.
No, you could. I'm not against it.
Well, it's just like, for me, like, you guys are talking about these things, and like the reason that Nintendo has staying power is because they have integrity, right? They are true to their mission. They're true to their brand. Shakes brought up Gatorade, and Gatorade was made for the Florida Gators as an electrolyte reboost, and what it is today is not what it was when they started it. You know what I mean? Like, it was real citrus, just a little bit of salt, and it was just a little bit of a pep. Then it turned into this huge brand, and they basically started putting food coloring in, and like, again, I won't go too far into all that, but there's like these integrity pieces of like, we lose a little bit for money, right? And then when that kind of goes back to like where people lose their trust, and this day and age, like, we want to be able to trust the products. We're all starting to feel like everybody's just out to like scam us in some way, shape, or form, or whatever, and it doesn't feel good. So like, I think one thing that marketers should keep in mind is that, the integrity of your product, the integrity of your mission is what's going to help you have that long-standing power. I can't remember what the word is the infinite. Is it infinite? Is that what you said?
Yeah. But I said it's just cause. They need to have the just cause. That's very important.
Right. Well, even so, like, I mean, but you're talking about, like they said, Gatorade. It's like they're just trying to hydrate you, right? But it's like, just grab some water, bro. Like, you don't need red dye 40 to do that.
I mean, no, I agree with that. I'm a water drinker. I don't drink anything else. I like the occasional whiskey here and there, maybe a cup of wine, but a glass of wine. But other than that, who drinks wine out of a cup? I don't know. But you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm definitely a water drinker and a wine cup drinker, apparently. I definitely see your point in that. That's why the just cause is very important. Like, I don't know much about Gatorade. I don't drink it. And I don't think we have much Gatorade over here in Europe. Yeah, we have other food coloring drinks, though. There's a lot of those going around. But there's two sides to this, right? Because obviously we're talking about advertising here, and how it's changing, and how it has to change, and how it could potentially change in the future, where everything could go. But there's also very good point you brought up. It's about the integrity. Ad men used to be called madmen for a very good reason, because if you pay them enough money, they will get your product into people's hands. And it's the same as the point I brought up about the smoking. They knew it's bad for you. There's no way they didn't know it's bad for you. But
when you brought that up, when I was pregnant with my children and did a bunch of research, they used to, back in the day, they would tell women to smoke because it made your child smaller and easier to birth, right? And nowadays, So, and like nowadays, it's like, what? No, how could you? Like, don't get close to somebody who's pregnant because they'll just explode, right? And it's like, yeah, like that used to be something they would tell people, and it's like wild to think about because, what?
That's wild. I had no idea that used to be a thing. Wow. Your child gets smaller if you smoke. Yeah, madmen. There's a very
The
good
madmen.
reason that the admin are called madmen. They will promote anything and everything, and they're very good at what they do. Like those people, they're very, very good at what they do. But if we're talking in the context of an infinite game, that's so much bigger than admin and the madmen, right? Like, again, to bring up the Nintendo, to stand the test of time for so long, those people who have been there, to the founders, the original founders, there's no way they're still around because it was such a long time ago. So it changed and withstood the test of time. And everybody who was leading Nintendo since then, they had a just cause. They had the same just cause. Whereas I see that with Steve Jobs, while he was at Apple, no matter what you think of him as a person, he was playing the infinite game. He saw the bigger picture, and he was connecting the dots like no one else. He was an amazing human being from that standpoint of seeing the bigger picture. No matter what you think, because there's lots of, from the books to the movies, that he was the best person around. But then again, those people who push things and keep the world moving forward, they have to be a certain way as well. But that's a topic for another day, I guess. And to bring everything we talked about kind of a little bit back now, because we have ventured off topic a little bit. But yeah, I found this conversation interesting so far. What if we built this ourselves? Like the things that we talked about before, advertising instead of video games, right? Imagine a Tokenize360 billboard network, a Tokenize360 ad agency inside of games. Our guild has land, we rent the space, players earn a cut, project gets exposure, we could run campaigns directly inside of crypto games instead of Web3 games, native, on brand, and transparent. That's something that excites me a little bit, because with the crypto games, we have the option to do this. In regular Web2 games, we don't really have the option to do this. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to start Tokenize360 ad network tomorrow inside of video games, because we don't have a proven video game where you can potentially do this. But it's definitely something that's on my mind and something that does give me the tingles. It excites me a lot.
Well, I definitely think it's a really cool idea. And like we've already kind of talked about different games that could house it. And I mean, how many games have some sort of city landscape or like, it's like you go into a town or like a big city with all these flashing lights, could easily have a tokenized billboard up there, right? And hey, we've got a pretty sick pitch deck. You add some of those graphics, you put all that together. And I think, Tokenize itself is something that we're building, and I think it's an amazing change from what's been going on already in the crypto space. But like really, like it's community, it's collaborative, it's all about sharing information in the crypto space, keeping people in the know, and also being real about it. And so like I think Tokenize360 would be the perfect billboard for everybody to see in any game, obviously.
Obviously. Yeah, we're definitely trying our best. We're trying to push the industry forward. We're trying to educate people, most importantly. And we're trying new things. We're trying to innovate. And it's going to work out at some point. So far, Tokenize in its 4th month, we started this podcast so we can talk more to people, but also because we do just sit down for an hour and, chit-chat about various things. So might as well record it and put it up there. Maybe someone can get some value from all of this. But what about you, Shakes? What do you think about all this? Specifically, Tokenize ads.
Slap us in an Easter egg and put us in a game, man. Like it doesn't even have to be an MMO or an open world. I mean, we see so many Easter eggs with like games like Call of Duty or even Fortnite. Games that have been standing strong for years. Decades almost. So yeah, it's a great idea. Like Nature said, we got the great pitch deck, right? And we have a lot of other things that we could bring to the project. So slap us on an Easter egg, put us in the game, just like the inspector in Cyberverse. Like we need that. Games need that. Games need it.
Games need it, and we could definitely benefit from it. It could be something interesting to explore. But now thinking about all that was said, we need to play the infinite game as well. We need to look what's going to be in the future. We are deep in the infinite game. We're trying to build inside of this little niche, inside a niche, inside a niche. We are 3 niches down in our inception. Because we have, first of all, we have crypto, which is a niche in of itself. And then we have crypto gaming, which is a niche in of itself. So that's 2 niches down. And then we have the third one, which is we have our guild that we're trying to rename now to a hub. Because we're more than a guild. We're trying to build something larger. A network of like-minded people where anyone can thrive, from content creators to regular players who just want to explore the world of Web3. Someone who's never had any experience with a crypto game can get in our Discord or our Telegram groups, and they can learn the ropes. We will show them. We all remember our first time when Nature brought it up earlier, buying that first mushroom NFT. It reminded me of me buying my first NFT, and it was a special experience. After that, it doesn't hit the same because now you already know all this, and you want to flip them and take out profits and this and that. But back then, when I bought my first NFT, it was a special experience. I loved it. I loved my first NFT. I still have it. I'm never gonna sell my first NFT. It was such a special moment to me, and I don't know why. I think it could be because I understood this is on chain forever, and I actually own this. I think I understood that concept, and it's like when I bought it the first time, I have my own little mushroom. Well, it's not a mushroom, but like Nature, you have your mushroom. I have my own little thing. It's like a little pixelated profile picture NFT, and I'm never gonna sell it. In fact, I put it in my girlfriend's wallet that I'm pretty sure she doesn't have access to.
I mean, you're right about that first time feeling, dude. When I bought my first NFT, I was like, yo, I got a digital asset. Yo, only I have this. There are only 555 of these. Nobody else owns this. What can you tell me? This is mine.
Can't tell me nothing. Get out of here. I'm on top of the world.
I lied because like I realized that like I had axes before, and I totally like, not that I forgot, but so like this experience that you're talking about, like I remember my first axes team, and this was when they were worth so much money, and it was like insane to even own them. And then as more and 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 more of them came out, I was like, oh, they're not. Okay. Well, I still love you, cool bro, but you're not as valuable as you were, a month ago.
Not
and
so special.
Yeah, and so like I feel like it's interesting because I really, honestly, I don't want to say I forgot, but I sort of don't put that in the same experience as my mushy, because yeah, my mushy is just a different feeling, and I, like you said, like I'll never get rid of it. I even got a golden one now, like, because I just love it so much.
Yeah, that's how you upgrade. You get to a golden one immediately. Yeah, but I think it's also because Axis you bought as an investment, right?
Yes, that is true. That was a different concept, and it was building its own little business, essentially, having the scholars, managing, doing all that stuff, flipping it, breeding them, selling them. Yeah, it was a much different way of using NFTs for sure. But that's what opened my eyes to the ability to like see that these things were more than like they were an investment. Like when my husband told me that, I was like, you invested what in what? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I was like, well, I guess we're playing this game now, so let's go. And then when I did the research, saw that there was like these people who were, doing this scholarship thing. Then I was like, okay, well, I'm a boss. I'll take care of it. And so I set that all up, managed some teams. We got it all going. And yeah, it was insane. It was absolutely insane. But then like, now there's so many different projects. And I think that's the other piece, like back to that scare point. People are like, well, there's just so much. And there is. But that's why you follow people like Tokenize360, and we'll tell you what's safe, or at least what's safe right now.
Yeah, what's safe right now may not be safe tomorrow. Yeah, that's unfortunately how it is. But it was crazy back in the Axie days in 2021. It's like in crypto, time moves different. 1 month in crypto equals to around 7 to 8 months in real life. That's how it feels, at least, because the way we talk about the whole Axie craze, it's like, oh, way back in the Axie craze, like that was 20 years ago. It was 4 years ago. Like it's not that far. It's not that far back. It's crazy how different time passes in crypto. But that was crazy. The whole Axie thing was unbelievable. A lot of people got onboarded on crypto and Web3 gaming through that. And also, big part of it was because it was an investment. And you didn't really treat those Axies as your little pets. They were an investment. A lot of people keep their original Axie to this day, but Axes are just, there's so many at this point. They keep releasing more and more,
So
and
many of
there's so many of them right now. But for those listening who don't even know what a scholarship program is and all that, I think we could touch more on all that in one of the future episodes. But in short, what's the best way to explain scholarships like TLDR, too long didn't read?
Oh, well, essentially, someone else has a team, you borrow it, you play it, you get a percentage of the earnings.
Yeah, so basically it's like there's this NFT and you own it, and then someone else can borrow that NFT so they can play with it because you don't have enough time to play, and then you split the earnings.
Almost like renting it, right?
Well, it is renting.
Sort of,
in a
but
way.
for free. It's more like it's like leasing, or not leasing. What is it like when you get it for free? Like you're not paying. I mean, you pay in the end, I guess, but like you never really. There's no skin off your back other than your time. For this. Well, and that was just for the Axie scholarships that I ran. I can't say that for everything and everybody, but it was essentially I own these NFTs. I can't play them. Here you go. Play this. You can make. People were making good dollars back then on playing these games. And to them, that was awesome. And for me, I just took a small percentage just for, the fact that like it was my stuff and I was trusting them not to be cheating,
Yeah, so there wasn't like a renting system programmed into the blockchain. You had to send your Axie to someone and trust that they will split the profits with you, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see now I realize, now there's much more like safeguarded things in place. But yeah, back then it was all built on like I'm trusting. Well, that's what we would make the account. Like we would make a scholar account. So you didn't send them to them. You just gave them essentially the passcode to, way we did it is like they would sign into the email address associated with the account. So they never got anything in the wallet. We would take the stuff from the wallet and then we would send it to their wallet. But that way there was no way they were going to go run off and steal our NFTs or anything like that.
Interesting. Yeah. What a time! Yeah, but it's always going to be funny the way we talk about back then. Back then we did. It's not that far away, but yeah, that's always going to be funny. Anyway, to wrap it up, advertising isn't going away, but it is evolving from interruptive to immersive, from centralized to community owned. And Web3 gaming is leading that shift because no one else is adopting this technology. Web3 gaming, crypto gaming is adopting this because they're already adopting so much, so might as well go all out and adopt every single new tech that's out there and just try to innovate as much as you can. The first person who figures out a sustainable crypto game that people can earn from, that's not going to blow up like Axie and then come crashing down, but something that's going to stay sustainable for a longer period of time, for a very long period of time. And whoever figures that out and does this advertising and does AI agents inside of the game and brings it all together, if someone does that, that's going to be the next billion-dollar company and multi-billion-dollar company and possibly even trillion-dollar company. But I think we're still far away from that. Someone is building this. Someone may have already built it, but we don't know about it. But it's coming. That's one thing I know for sure. It's coming. That's where I see things going.
I agree. And I think that, I just want to thank you both for your time. Thank you for this conversation. I love just nerding out with some Web3 stuff, learning more about crypto with you guys. I appreciate y'all coming. And I just want to say again, if you are new and you're listening to this, follow Tokenize360, follow the creators in here. We're all trying to educate and keep people aligned with what's going on in the ecosystem. And in the end, we are here to help you. So let us know what you want to hear too.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you so much for tuning in into episode 2 of the Tokenize Podcast with Shakes, Nature, and myself. Make sure to like, share, and let us know in the comments. What do you want us to talk about next? Because that could be something that we will talk about in one of the future episodes. So, Shakes, any final remarks?
No final remarks here. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you, Nature. Appreciate you, Tony, Inspector. And follow Tokenize360. Come around if you guys have any questions. We're always there. The community's there. So let's get after it.
See y'all next time.